All right, I just wanted to talk a little bit about myself. Obviously, I am your teacher here, but I just want to give a little background as to my real estate journey and just want to make it known that I'm not too much further than you where you are. I'm only one step ahead of you, so I just hope that you learn a lot from my journey and hopefully it'll expedite your path to getting your first apartment complex. Thank you. So let's take a look at my investment portfolio, and hopefully this makes me qualified to teach you. But just like you, I started off in single family homes in California, and my goal was to buy one single family a year for 10 years. But I quickly found out, especially in California, the houses are over $1 million, and you don't get that much rent. Like you're lucky to break even while self-managing the property. And California is more of an appreciation play. So I quickly found out that it's not scalable in California. So I actually went and bought a brand new single family home in Huntsville, Alabama. It was a brand new home that was $260,000 and I was able to get $2,000 in rent. So this one actually cash flowed $800 a month. But even after that, I just said this isn't scalable. So that's when I started looking into apartment complexes in 2021. And once I realized that the value of an apartment complex is based on the net operating income divided by the market cap rate, that blew my mind. And once I learned that concept, I was so consumed about apartment complexes that I've probably watched over 10,000 hours of education and YouTube and mentorships about apartment complex to learn how to master it. So once I became consumed, that I took action and I was able to get a 26 unit apartment complex in Oklahoma City, which was my first one. And then most recently in 2022, I got a 20 unit apartment complex in Oklahoma. And both of these are obtained off market using my direct marketing mailers. So that's why I want to really emphasize that strategy. And then, most recent, I have a 200 lot mobile home park in Alabama. And, mobile home parks is the next level, right? Like, so once you start off in single family homes, you go up to apartments, and then you end up in mobile home park slash self storage. So it's just a very natural progression. And, later down the road, I am going to make a course on mobile home park investing after this apartment complex course. So overall, I scaled to a $12 million portfolio in less than 5 years. I want to emphasize that I have no partners. I did this all by myself. I did this while working a full-time W-2 as a pharmacy director. So why I say that is because this course is catered towards people who work a full-time W-2 and they'll buy apartment complexes. So it's never either this or that. You can have a job and scale a real estate portfolio. And just for some background, my family actually hates real estate. They think it's too risky. My parents think debt is bad. No one's encouraging me. I've been on this journey by myself, so I didn't have any additional help. I'm just like where you are, but I happen to self-educate myself, and now I'm hoping to teach you everything that I've learned. Let's take a deeper dive in regards to my investing journey. So I was born and raised in a middle-class family in the Bay Area, Silicon Valley in California. And as I mentioned earlier, my parents viewed real estate as risky. They didn't like debt. They only viewed real estate as a place to live in your primary residence, never to invest. As I mentioned before, I'm a pharmacist. I graduated pharmacy school at 23 and I made a six-figure salary, but I was $250,000 in student debt. So I literally went from negative $250,000 in net worth all the way up to around 5 million where I'm at today over the span of 9 years while working full time. So I share this not to brag, but to show that it is possible and hopefully my story will inspire you. So I bought my first single family home back in 2017, just a house hack. I lived in the master bedroom. I down 10% on the property because it's a primary residence, and I rented out the three other bedrooms for $1,000 each per month. So in total, I was getting $3,000 per month, which actually covered my mortgage, and all I had to do was cover the HOA, the utilities, the property tax, the insurance, which came out to be around $1,500 a month. So, my mindset wasn't to be an investor back then. I just wanted my own place. In 2019, I bought my second single family home, and I did the same thing. I house hacked. I actually just got a new job as a pharmacy director and just wanted to move closer. I didn't want to do a long commute. So, once again, it's just a very natural progression. Bought it with 10% down. It was a makeshift duplex in San Francisco. So I lived in the master bedroom in the upper unit, rented out the two additional bedrooms for around $1,200 each, and I had a downstairs separate unit with a separate entrance. It was kind of like a duplex, and I rented that thing out too. So kind of the same situation. I was house hacking, and my cost to live there was less than $1,500 to live in San Francisco. So that was amazing in my eyes. So after spending most of my life in the Bay Area, I relocated to Southern California, which is where I'm currently based, and I bought a third single family home in 2022. Once again, this was a house for me to live in. I down 10% because it's a primary residence. But I decided not to end up house hacking this home. At this stage in my life, I wanted more privacy. I didn't want to deal with, living with the tenants again. And I felt like I earned that. So I actually decided to just continue to rent an apartment and rent out that house completely. And, I was basically on track, right, to basically buy one single family home a year for 10 years. This is my third year, and this is my third home. But I quickly realized that California is more of an appreciation market, and this isn't scalable. There's no cash flow. The homes cost over $1 million. It's almost 2 million now in 2022, and the rents you can get is 4 to 6,000. And as I said before, I broke even at best, and I was self-managing the property, and that doesn't even include any capex. So I've done well in terms of appreciation, but in terms of no cash flow, I still have to work my day job as a pharmacist. So what I started to do is I started to research out of state and actually bought a single family home in Huntsville, Alabama in 2021. And this one, it cash flowed $800 per month, but there wasn't as much appreciation. And $800 a month is nice. I mean, don't get me wrong, but that's not gonna retire me from my day job. It doesn't even cover my rent. I need to maybe own 3 to 4 of these before it starts to cover my rent in California. So, once again, I was kind of stumped with single family homes. It's not too scalable, but it's doable. And that's all I've known and done. So this is when the magic happened. This is when I had exponential growth. In 2021, when COVID happened, everything was shut down. I couldn't go out. I was stuck inside all day. I just started consuming myself with podcasts about multifamily. I listened to all the Bigger Pockets podcast episodes. I read every single book related to multifamily. I mean, to be honest, there's not too many books out there in regards to multifamily. I joined multiple mentorship programs and consumed YouTube content continuously about apartment complexes. In this day and age, a lot of information is free, but sometimes there's just too much information out there and you get so consumed with consuming content that you get paralyzed. Lucky for me, I'm an action taker. I can take action without much knowledge. I can kind of figure out as I go, but overall, I spent over 10,000 hours studying multifamily, and I've paid over $30,000 in education. And my hope is that I can condense all of my education into this course and save you from having to spend $30,000 and give you a much more affordable program that's actually more meaningful. So, I learned how to generate off-market deals. I started a direct mail campaign, and after 6 months, I purchased my first 26-unit apartment complex in May of 2021, and it has changed my life significantly. From there, I got the apartment complex. It was $500,000. day one, the rents gross around $10,000 a month. That blew my mind. You cannot even get a condo for $500,000 in California, specifically the Bay Area, let alone $10,000 a month in gross rents. This just blew my mind, and once I got this 26 unit, I never looked back. In November of 2021, I closed on a 200 lot mobile home park. It's a huge value add play. It's going to take me 5 to 6 years to finish, but when it's done, it's definitely going to be worth it and probably my most profitable piece of real estate. And most recently, here in May of 2022, from that same letter batch I sent initially, I actually closed on another 20 unit apartment complex in Oklahoma. And this one, I'm doing a heavy value add as well. So as you can see, my initial goal was one single family home a year for 10 years. That's 10 homes. And just in 1 year alone, I got 46 apartment units and a 200 lot mobile home park, which has maybe around 35 lots that are currently occupied. So I scaled massively, massively in 2021. So let me share you my mindset, and I hope that you will adopt some of the tricks that I picked up through all my education as well as through buying all this real estate. And for me, I learned best by taking consistent action. Closing on your first apartment complex seems very intimidating, but if you break it down to small, bite-sized steps, it's not intimidating at all. You just slowly take one step at a time, and over time, it compounds significantly. And that's what I saw. And I hope that by taking this course, you'll adopt a similar mindset. Because if you take consistent action and follow the system of my course, I know for a fact that you will get your first apartment complex within 12 months. It'll be an off-market apartment complex that people will say, how'd you even get that deal? That's the goal of my course, and that's what you will obtain if you take consistent action. For me, I can make decisions without knowing all the details. A lot of people struggle in this. I know a lot of real estate investors that I networked with back in 2017, and they're still stuck with inaction. For them, they feel like they need to know everything before taking their first step. But the reality is, you're never going to know everything, and you just have to take that first step and learn as you go. For me, I apply the 80-20 Pareto principle in my life, and 20% of my time completes 80% of my work. So I try to maximize that 20% of my time. Remember, I work full-time, and you probably work full-time too, but once you identify what that 20% is, it completes 80% of your work. So for me, I focus on getting high-quality deals, sourcing them, and quickly analyzing them so I don't waste my time. Once again, I take fast action and learn as I go along. Believe me, in real estate, you're going to have a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of stress. Even myself, despite all my education, despite all I've done, some days I get stressed too, and you will get stressed. But the key is to learn as you go along. And if you make a mistake, learn from it and never make the same mistake again. But by having this course that I created, I hope that you learn from my mistakes. All these mistakes I made, and I wish someone taught me these things. I was part of multiple mentorships, and I still made mistakes. So just get comfortable with making mistakes, but the key is how you learn from them and to never make the same mistake again. And next, I act with a sense of urgency since I value time. The older and older I got, I realized that time is just flying by. It is flying by so fast. So for me, I treat everything with a sense of urgency because I realize that time flies. Like I started investing 5 years ago, and 5 years flew by. I'll be honest. And if you asked me if I would be at around 86 units back in 2017 in 5 years, I tell you that you were crazy. And then next, I think long term. So you need to have a long-term mindset because you will fall along the way during your apartment investing career. But if you look back 30 years from now, all these little setbacks will seem so minor. And that's the mindset that I want you to take as well. And lastly, I am always learning every day. Always stay humble and always learn. I'm even learning by creating this course. I'm learning by listening to podcasts. I'm learning by teaching you. So the key is you always need to be a lifelong learner and you will be successful. So my goal with this course is to condense my 10,000 hours of education in apartment complexes and $30,000 worth of multiple memberships that I joined into an easy to understand course that is cost effective. My course doesn't cost as much as $30,000. And my goal is to get you to take consistent action every day. There's a saying that I live by. Yesterday was the best day to invest in real estate. Today is the second best day to invest in real estate. And ultimately, I want to create an A through Z system for you to get your first off-market multifamily deal within 12 months if you take consistent action and you follow the steps in this program. I know for a fact if you follow the steps in this program, you will get your first apartment complex.